It's so weird when I go to my own Twitch channel, it doesn't show me chat anymore. It's just not interested. I have to go to the special chat page. Yeah, okay, whoops. Window. Okay. So, hopefully that compiles. It's not called Dragon, what is it called? Oh, it's Monster. Right. Oh, and I gotta not write this in C++. All right. If it's a monster, all right, let's see if that fixes this bug. Which level was that? This one. Oh. So the old bug was that the dragon breaths would stay there too long, or forever, and now they don't happen at all. So hmm. What am I doing? Do things in the right order. Wait, not min? Max. I don't know. There may be some other problem. There may be some other problem. Yeah. Debug. Chat. Oh god, it's going to tell me we're not in fucking program. Oh no, it didn't do it. All right. We want to go to soft kill breath. Is this even getting called? Right, so forget that. All right, pull. All right, so why are we calling this 8, 9? Why are we calling this so many times? Oh, because there's that many. Right. Okay, this is the right one. So these guys do have emitters. I see. I think this is preventing it. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. And it's not going away. That's the old. Are we not cloning particle emitters? I need to look at particle emitters. Okay. This is annoying. All right. Let me see what this thing. Wait, what? Why are we setting that to allow? What? I don't understand this at all, people. It's just I haven't worked with these entities in a while, so I don't remember the details of how they're working. Whoops. All right. Old emitter. What is going on here? Its elapsed is probably 0 because we just made it. So the argument there is the distance along the thing. Okay. Maybe we just don't update emitters that are not on dragons. Oh no, because the dragons are going away and they're still there. Emitter lifetime. Oh, that's not my life. All right, let's just see what happens. It looks to me like these ought to go away, but they ain't. So let's look in update emitter. Emitter. Position. 6,5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 8. That's the guy on the left. All right. So emitter lifetime is 6. Oh, because we're dialing down. Oh. Why are these going up? What's going on? DT is positive. Spawning some particles. All right. Emitter lifetime. Who is increasing this? (17399) 4F228C. Aha. Okay. Right. That's fine. We'll do something more involved. Okay, we're going to add another parameter and so the reason I'm making a new number is that the old number was also controlling like how long down the tube you could spawn the particles, and I don't want those to be tied up. Undeclared identifier old emitter. All right. What is going on? How is this so hard? Oh. It's just little things like this that should be easy, that drive you nuts in video games. Should be very easy to do this. Why are there no Sokoban games with ramps? Because people haven't made very many Sokoban games with ramps. Ah. Just to make this very easy to test. There we go. So I just run the game. Bam! I'm right there at the block. What the fuck is going on? All right, so oh, particles per second equals 0. This is so in one sense, what I'm trying to do is a weird case. Like, I want the particle system to go away in a different way. I'm not going to put any constants on these yet. What a mess. What a mess. Okay, it finally burned itself out after a while. I'm just going to say, oh, I set it to 1. Even 1 is too long because we go into this time dilation thing. I just want it to be long enough that you see some little particles. And right about now, it should have faded out. Yeah, so it's a little too long. It's weird because it runs at normal speed and then dies. That's pretty okay. That's pretty okay. I mean, re-edit this one to put the dude back. There we go. Okay. How are things going in the chat? Let me check my drink I put in the freezer to make sure it doesn't freeze. The later +1 needs to be guarded by arg1? What? I put some drinks in the freezer to make sure they get cold fast, but I've messed that up before. What are we talking about? Somebody said here, where was it? Wireframe dragon particles. I don't know what you're talking about. I know that it used to be arg0, but I changed these things. How do I come up with these puzzles? Most of the puzzles that you just saw are not mine. They are not my puzzles. They're somebody else's puzzles. There's a solution to the goblin puzzle that doesn't require any of the 3 bottom rows. You mean the recent goblin puzzle? This one? Really? I disagree. I disagree. Because I think I know what you're saying, and it's not possible. Although, well, oh, maybe. Maybe. I mean, the problem is, I mean, if I can't even walk into those rows, I can barely move. Like, I don't quite believe that. I believe that I may be able to do it in less space, but I don't. I mean, like if I start here and the mirror is here, I can only walk in a few spaces. Like I can't even get anywhere. If the top left corner is 0, 0, 0, 3, I mean the top left corner of the walkable area? What does 0, 3 mean? Does that mean I go there or I put the mirror there? I can't do either of those things. So this is 0, 3. I can't put the mirror in that square. It's not possible. Because this guy can only drag, and you know, can obviously only walk on the border. So the mirror is confined to an area 1 square inside the outer rim. Yeah, there's no push on this character. Yep. Yep. Okay, I have Dragon Breath fades too quickly on player kill. I'm not sure if that's true still. No, it's not true still. That is. Oh, well, I should test it in a level with multiple characters. That's a good idea. So I want to do a fun thing. How far away from a distributed game is Sokoban? Pretty far. Is it a year, 5 years, 10 years? It's much closer to 1 year than 5 years. You could always duplicate the level using the warrior. You could, but then you still couldn't put the mirror on the border unless it was the last move, because the warrior can't pull. So once you push the mirror to the border, you can't get it back, bro. All right, so I don't feel that Dragon Breath fades too quickly on player kill. So I already this morning wrote a new to-do list, and it's already getting hammered on. There's the new to-do list, and it's doing okay. You can already play these levels, most of them. That big one with all the goblins is not available, but this one right here is just a standard Heroes of Sokoban 2 level. You can play this right now if you want. Oh yeah, the ones with the mirror in them and the Sokoban characters. Yeah, those obviously don't exist in the original games. Oh wait, can I solve this one? This one was, I need to test this because this level was broken before. Yeah. I had so much trouble on this level for a long time, just not remembering how to do it, and then it was like, well, there we go. So easy once you see it. All right. All right. I want to do something kind of fun. So back in levels where we have multiple dudes and they could die, like this one. I don't remember which level this is. Let's find out. Is it? It's like 9, 8, level 8. So there could be a thing where one character dies. But I leave your control on that character. Actually, it'll be fine even in a one character level. Like I leave your control on that character because it seems jarring to me to switch to an arbitrary character that you didn't say. But I want to signal when you try to move, I want player feedback on that move. So I think if your guy's dead and you try to move, he'll like flail a little bit. And we don't have an animation for that, so I'm going to hard code that in as a thingy bopper. What are we going to do about the black background for release? Well, everything's going to be nice like this. What do you think we're going to do? I mean, not exactly like this. This is old and the rendering is not up to date and all that, but you get the idea. Yeah, what happens is per turn, the dragon kills one thing in its line. So if I go back to Heroes of Sokoban 2, what'll happen is, so well actually this level illustrates, right? So if I'm going to pop my wizard to the right, the dragon burns one guy, and then he burns the next guy, and then he burns the next guy, and then he burns the next guy. Do we have ideas on what the final backgrounds and setting of the game is going to be? Yes, of course. Of course. Yes, it is possible for Performant to do softer shadows. I just haven't done it yet. Why did I switch to 4K? Because my 4K monitor got delivered. All right, let me check on my freezer drinks again. Doesn't seem that cold, but I'll find out. Do level layouts also use ASCII notation like PuzzleScript, or are they done in the 3D editor? They are done in the 3D editor. Originally, to port the games over from the original games, we used the ASCII layouts, but not anymore. Here's of Sokoban 1, level 3. Really? Which one is that? This camera angle? Whatever. Whatever, man. I mean, we're going to adjust all of these eventually when they're real levels, but camera orientations are going to be mostly static. They might move a little bit to give it some life. What are good resources to learn about lighting and physically based rendering? I don't know. Sometimes I just like to sit here and play these levels. It's not askew enough. All right. So next, I want to make the dead dudes wiggle. Do control input check object 0. So I don't check for dead here. This is going to start at 1 and die down to 0, and I'm going to say theta is cosine, actually no, sine, wait, no, arc sine, obviously, little t, uh-oh. Q V3001 theta, Ori is Q times guy dot orientation free wiggle orientation, and guy dot wiggle t plus equals dt. Okay, we need free wiggle orientation. What do you mean free? I didn't save it. That's what you mean. A sine. Okay, we have an A sine F. It's fine. And declared it what? Oh. Oh, this has to go. Faster as well. Undeclared. Identifier DT. Animation DT. Why did I make wiggle T an integer? That doesn't make any sense. All right. Boy, that was a hassle. Okay, he wiggled himself into outer space right there. Okay, and then post, undo, reevaluate. All right, what happens now? He still wiggled himself into outer space. Weird. Okay, wait. Oh no, I was right. I don't want arcsine. I don't want arcsine. I do want sine because I want it to go up and down. Times factor times tau times 0.2. I was originally thinking the right thing, and then I confused myself. Did I close my console? I closed my console. Gotta fix that someday. All right. All right, well, that's a much longer. So wiggle T is going to go times 3, and much smaller angle. All right, that's good enough for now. You just get a little motion when you. Just get a little motion. You know what I'm saying? Help me. Oh, I've got to reset the wiggle. Oh. 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 That was fun. No, the dead bodies do not block the dragon breath. Let us verify this, but they don't. I mean, it wouldn't help you if they did, because you still can't win. But yeah. Wiggling. All right. What next? There's one of the asserts we were hitting yesterday. There's factoring the code for draw value slot together in the editor. There's that mouse rotation bug that happens in the editor where it just starts rotating. I don't exactly know how to find that, though. There's that vertex buffer wrong when you create a clone, so the clone is all spammy. There's the goblins turning the long way around to see you, which used to work. Oh, no, I know what has to happen. So there's a gameplay breaking thing when you have clones. If you saw any of the previous streams, if you clone yourself and you're standing next to each other and like the wrong guy moves, then everybody's all messed up. So what I could do is piggyback that on the druid handling, and then it should work. I am the only programmer on the project right now. There are other people contributing indirectly, and then eventually there will be more people on this actual project. Oh, ha, ha. All right. Let's see what happens. So let me check some things. All right. People are working on other projects. Why do many game math libraries multiply matrices in the order of a column from the left matrix with a row of the right matrix, which is not the standard way? Is it because people want translations in the bottom row? No, it's just some game math libraries are left-handed, which is stupid, but so there's two conventions about how to do matrices and vectors, and one is vectors are column vectors, and one is vectors are row vectors. And the standard that I use is vectors are column vectors, right? But if vectors are row vectors, then everything flips around, and you do it that way. But it also, there's also the possible confusion that, you know, the layout of your things in memory may not correspond to rows and columns the way you think they do, right? So that's a separate component of specification. Okay. We have other projects in the works. You better believe it. Yeah, I use column vectors because that's the math standard. But some people got into the habit of row vectors for some reason. And I don't really know why. I think it might be because Direct3D did that for some reason, and I don't know why they did that. It's a mistake. Normals are not vectors. At least, so normals are the transpose of a vector, right? They don't transform the same as vectors. You can prove that normals don't transform the same as vectors by writing the equation of a cross product of two vectors, which is the normal from the plane that those vectors are in, and then transforming the vectors and see what happens to the transform of the cross product result. Okay, let me get back to doing some actual work. Let's make a test case that fails very quickly. Like, I can just do this, and I can open the editor and Control G, and these guys should then be clones of each other, and I can save as clone test, and then I can go put that in the level queue. So, well, that didn't work. It doesn't like my, okay, well, work now. All right, so there we go. Right away we have a failure. I try to walk to the right, and the guy on the left tries to push the guy on the right, and the guy on the right, or no, the guy on the left, I don't know exactly what's happening, but the result is clearly wrong. Like, that guy feels blocked. I think that's our I'm blocked animation. He feels blocked because there's a guy there. I don't know. So whoever's in back, either way, that's weird. That's real weird. All right, so my first inclination is to try and handle this through the Druid path, which already does some things. Is the reflection orientation correct? Yes, it is. In my opinion, anyway, it is correct. Yeah, the clone restarting his run animation is definitely happening. I don't know why that is. Maybe I have some suspicions, but that's not on my list, so I'll put that on my list. Clone restarting run animations. So if you think about how a mirror works, this is actually correct. is what I'm saying. And if you want to square that with your imagination that things flip when you see them in the mirror, then just rotate this angle, this guy on the right, rotate it up until he faces the guy where he came from. No, the clone should not be facing the mirror. Clone should not be facing the mirror. Sorry. Yeah, imagine the guy as a light beam. Exactly. Exactly. So if I put this guy, well, these guys are not independently controllable, but if another character walks in front of the mirage, then yeah, he will block that mirage placement, but he'll become the new mirror transfer subject. Although actually, maybe this isn't the right orientation. Come to think of it, I said so clearly, like, oh yes, this is totally right. I don't know. I need to think about it some more. No, it's okay, never mind. What I said was wrong. This is probably wrong. This is probably wrong. Yeah, it's like, this is like if the guy is a point light beam, which is not really correct. It would be correct if he had a reflection uh, in the left, right, then it would be correct. So the question about whether he should face toward or away from the mirror is what I was replying to before, really the main thing. And it's just, yeah, I don't know. If we make him face the mirror, it's still, if you make him face the mirror without flipping him, it's still wrong. So there has to be a flip in it. And then it's a matter of philosophy whether he points toward the mirror or away. It's like, what do you imagine is happening? Maybe we should do this. No, I should do the gameplay breaking thing, but I'll write down mirror reflection fix. The thing is, because we're storing people's rotations as quaternions, I don't believe that you can put a reflection into a quaternion, right? Unless you somehow cheat the double cover to represent that, which I would not be inclined to do. So we would need another variable about whether the guy is mirrored. Which then gets toggled every time you go through a mirror. You're imagining that he'd be seeing himself in the mirror as a reflection, but the background would be different. Right. That could be. I mean, yeah, it depends on like how fictionally does the mirror work. It's true. All right, we'll try. When we get to this point, we'll try facing the mirror with a flip. That might feel better. Um, but first, I want to not derail, and I want to fix the thing that I came here to fix first of all, which is this and that. Now, it really bothers me that this doesn't work either way, but maybe it makes sense. Okay. Oh. Right. Let us, well, first I'll go to main. And we'll just start straight into this every time. Boom. Next. So here's all this code to deal with charming guys, and we like do all this 2-pass test to see if we can move the person. The thing is, this has to get more involved. Okay. I'm not going to try handling charms and clones at the same time. The mirror definitely rotates dragons. We have a demo of that somewhere. I think it's in here. I mean, in that one I could do it, but there's an actual puzzle. I think it's considered playable, so it's in here. There we go. Whoops. So like, right? And so forth. So regardless of whether you face toward or away from the mirror, it'll rotate you 90 degrees. It's just a different rotation. You apply the direction of the button to all objects. Then back propagate stops from walls in the opposite direction of movement, and forward propagate from all movement sources, so boxes don't move on their own. Well, I do something like that. What I do is I do a test move of, like if the druid is charming people, I do a test move of everybody. And then I say, okay, if the druid actually moved, then we move, otherwise we don't move, right? Or maybe I factor this a little bit apart. See, this is messed up because charm doesn't have any of the beam effects. This is all going to have to get factored. So I might as well well, I don't know what to do. Like I can either put this kind of a test like in the inner loop or outside the outer loop. Outside the outer loop, seems like it might be the right thing. I don't know. Have I written any puzzle script games? No. Why is the clone and guy pushing each other a bad thing? Because they're supposed to be moving simultaneously. They should just move. And also, that's how the original game is. And we don't want to break the original game. All right. So the thing that is annoying me is you want to be able to clone lots of guys. Like I want to be able to clone the wizard who just teleports across the level. So that's not going to be solved if I put the solution here and test people walking one square or whatever. And this version of the Bard is probably not going to work with a lot of other things. So really what I want to do is say, I really want to do clones the way I'm doing it right now. Probably. I don't know, like, how am I doing clones? An act move, okay. Yeah, so anytime I say, hey, there's a move, I do this here. And that is the only thing that's going to work with everybody in all cases, but it has this problem. So I think what we do is we set something on the, maybe even on the context, so I don't have to pass it down through all these procedures, that says this is a voluntary clone motion, and therefore if you're looking to move into another clone square, just do it, even if he's there. And then when we come back out, we have to then see if anybody failed to move. And then stop guys. That's my current plan. How bad would it be to just recursively solve movement, i.e. can I move? Could involve asking neighboring entities the same question. I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing, except I'm not doing it in the functional language recursive way because it doesn't totally make sense to do that. And because, you know, it's easy to think about this one clone situation that we're looking at, but actually what's happening is it's a very complicated game where all kinds of weird stuff can happen. And so just a blanket like, can I move check is maybe not the right thing. That said, maybe it's actually fine. I don't know. I don't know. Hmm. How does my current thought solve this when moving right, warrior, warrior, wall? Well, they would both start moving, and then when we get back, well, they would both try to move. One would start moving, and the other would not be moving. And then when we get back, we check everybody's square to see if someone is moving out of it. And if they're not, then we fail it. Is this just like move everyone ignoring other characters, then check at the end if there are any overlaps? Yes. Yes. Pass overall, guys. If any of them can move, move them. If nobody moves in one step, we break out of the loop. Maybe, but you don't need to do that. Because, like what I do in the druid case, which I could also do here, and it would solve this actually. Oh no, it wouldn't solve it. Okay, so but what I do in the druid case is I sort people by the how far they are in the direction that you're going, right? So I do the guys. If you're moving right, I do the rightmost guys first, right? That works for the query part of it because you're instantaneously moving guys around to perform this query of where people can go. It doesn't work for the general movement because you still like occupy your square for a while. So just because I tell you to walk into another square doesn't mean you're there yet. You won't be there for some time. So, uh, yeah. If you do that, then you have to make sure you check the blocking dudes first. No? I don't understand the question. All right, I'm just going to try it this way and we'll see what happens. Oh, we're already sorting by dot product here anyway. So this doesn't really help anymore. You mean it's warrior, warrior, empty, you'd have to move the right one before you move the left one. That's what I do already. But no, it actually doesn't matter, actually, the way that things work. I certainly don't hang out on Stack Overflow. Uh, context dot. All right. So now we have a thing in the context. And let's not even do the second part. For now, we're just going to let guys move onto each other. And if you walk into a wall, they'll move on top of each other. And then we'll work on fixing that. So can go. Can go. If context.clone matching ID, then if actually we don't need that. We need no, I guess it is this blocker is V thing. Which I'm confused by. I'm actually, yeah. I'm not sure why this is the thing that's blocking us. Let's see. Debug. Attach. There. Okay. So we've got two guys. We're walking to the right. It didn't do it. It did do it to the left. Okay. V. Fucking don't have any variables. I'm not going to scan through 121 entities to find the right one. Will I participate at Microsoft Build Conference? No, it's not really an event that has anything I think that's relevant to me. Well, I can just read the printout. That'll give me some information. So linear move, starting at 4-6, going to 3-6. Okay, I have mover. Pause is 3-6. Right, so I'm the guy on the left, and I'm walking the left, right? Linear move, physical start. Oh, right. Wait, I'm at 4-6. What? What? Mover is at 5-6, but has a visual interpolation that starts at what? I see. Movers is not relevant. So mover is at all right, well, we can see it right here. It's at 5-6. Why am I at 5-6 and it's asking me to go to 3-6? Oh, because I'm trying to push this guy. And it's asking if I could push him. So what we really want to say is, here we want to check. 1172. Okay. If context, what did I even call it? Clone matching ID. If p.entity ID is equal to so if that's equal to ID, or e dot clone of ID, continue. Ignore this guy, don't try to push. All right, let's see if that changes anything in the situation. So many keyboard and mouse misfires in a row. This is like, UIs have to be designed to minimize how much bad stuff happens on a misfire, and people just don't do that. Oh, I have a square bracket. It's the wrong bracket. That's still that bug that I gotta fix. All right. Hey, look. How great. We've still got that problem where the animation's getting reset every time. Let's see what happens here. Oh, no good. But, you know. We're trading off one problem for another. But that's okay. Because this is what we meant to do. That animation is bugging me. I kind of want to look at that before I keep going here. Although no, let's do it. So what should I do? Well, okay. Okay. Just factoring this out. Okay. Clone matching ID. So we do this. If anyone can't go, we can't go. Repeat until no further changes. For a clones for I0 clones to move that move account -1 for j I plus 1 account -1. Okay. Clones to move I, B is clones to move J, and if B clone to moves J, clones to move J. If this has a visual interpolation, then pos v dot physical end. Okay. Wrapped. Don't I have a wrapped distance? Really? Yeah. If manager.wrapping Crosby equals wrap. No, screw it. Screw it. Okay. If distance dest pos b is less than 0.5, which is just to say if it's in the same square, but we're adding lots of slop, changed is true. And what did we just call it? Do blocked animation A didn't work. Why not? Now it's working. Why didn't it work a second ago? Oh, it has to do with which guy is... Oh dear. Let's not assert that for now. Well, you know what? We'll just say screw it and do the n squared test. I have to make it not try every frame or whatever. Oh, you know, the other call to do blocked animation oh, maybe it doesn't. It's weird. I guess I'll break it that sound playing. But I'll deprioritize that for a second because I want to do the animation now. Whoa, that didn't work. We desynced, I think. How did that happen? All right, so where the hell is it? Where the hell is it? Okay. Okay, maybe retire next transaction. That's for held key presses. Oh, no, maybe not. Right. This is complicated. Okay. I just want to be cleaner about this. All right. This seems like it should be fine, yet it's not. Even playing the same animation? How do I debug this? For my rendering of the alpha, am I doing 2-pass? What alpha? What are you talking about? I suppose I can start by printing debugging output, and then I can see the entity ID, and then I can break on that entity ID. If I can get LLVM to read enough frickin' variables to let me do that. The goal right now is to get those two guys' animations to match. We're in general tackling all these bugs that happen when you have clone guys. And right now, see how their animations don't match? It's like one of them keeps halting and restarting his animation. So I just want to do a call. I want to set a breakpoint from somewhere. Okay. Print. For time info current time. Guide entity ID. State. Right? Why is the font so goddamn small? If I hit 20 enter, it doesn't do anything. I have to. All right. So active, walking. Looks like this guy flails to active, right? That's what's killing it, is so we set him to active and then walking in the next frame. I suspect I have a picture in my head of how that might be happening, but um, but I looked for that and didn't see it. So where are we now? Animated Pokemon line 2646. Breakpoint conditions. Let's see if I can even do any of this. 16777 240. Whoa, what? Let's attach. So conditions, guy entity ID. Why is this happening a million times? Oh, because the key was pressed. All right. State is 3. What is active? State is equal to 2. Fuck this UI, this is so terrible. Give me 1 pixel in which to click in, please, and not destroy my text. All right, so all right. So our visual interpolation start time was not greater than or equal to 0. Okay. Why not? Set a breakpoint there and find out. Okay. Only one interpolation is completed, which is a little bit disturbing. See what happens. God damn it. Okay, we gotta do it this way. 1, 2. All right. What do you mean no? Oh, okay. Reorder remove by index, enact move. This is what we want. So we have both clones to move. Well, we've got an it here. Okay, this is the guy that completed. Call move individual guy on him. All right, he is not completed now. Next guy. This guy, oh, also was completed. So I think these two guys are retiring on different frames, which I don't know why that's happening, but we can force it to go. it.mvid and it, well, okay. Interp completed at 2647718 273. Yeah, they're completing on different frames. And because there's still a guy alive, they have the same transaction ID, 1, and we don't advance the transaction until a transaction ID completely retires. And because we don't advance the transaction, the guy's animation breaks. Because the way we ensure the animation's continuous is we say, well, let's queue any buffered moves on this guy right now before the frame ends. So this is a problem. So one question is just, why do these guys have different interpolations? Like this one was already -1? What? I don't know what's happening here. Seriously. All right. So, question is, what's going on, really? What's going on? So it's suspicious that this one is set to -1, and this one isn't when it completes, so they may be completing for different reasons somehow. I think I'm going to take out the thing where people set the start time to -1 themselves, because that's goofy and it destroys information that we might use. I mean, I want to make sure the start time on both of these is set to be the same number. If that's not right, then we're really scary. So okay, if interp completed, id dot start time equals -1. We'll set it down there after we have time to print it out. I don't know if I got all the cases. All right. Okay, we're not seeing -1s. Let me get it clean, just holding right. Okay, so these were started at the same time. They don't complete at the same time, and I think that's just because we're doing like a physical controller thing on them. So what I'm going to do is to keep things in sync. Keep things in sync. I'm going to search for similar clones. All these problems you don't have in PuzzleScript. If there are clones, and they are basically almost done. Just complete them as well. So all statements and break nominations. If we gave them separate transaction IDs, this may not be different weird situations. Okay, so this is a kind of an ugly hack. We are going to do the following. For interps completed, well, we know it's a guy, so for comp interps completed for other manager.by type.guy. Okay, if other is equal to comp continue, if array find interps completed other continue. I don't think I need a star there. Well, let's see. Left type is guy, right type is entity. Ugh. If all right. If otherwise, well, array add okay, see what that does. Hey, look at that. Isn't that great? That complicated code that I added couldn't possibly do anything bad. Right? It's still a little dicey, but better than it was. Whoa, that was bad. What? What happened there? It's that the mirrors animation was not completed. That should happen even with 2 clones, right? No, it didn't. Okay. It's like if it's the clone and not the original guy. All right. All right, so I got to fix this mirror push thing. Let's comment this out. Where was it? Is it in simulate? Clones to move, yeah. Okay. Second pass. Okay, it's because we're completing the clone transaction. Okay. If it's an object, that's synced with anyone that we stopped, then we should stop it. So we're force stopping the clone, the mirror isn't stopped yet, and then we're saying, can we move into the square? No, there's still a mirror moving into that square. All right, so okay, so I'm doing this just so that I have an array of everybody who's actually moving. that bug. Okay. It's a little jumpy. But, you know, it's just where we're at right now. I'd rather have the gameplay totally work. And worry about finer things like that later. Okay. That is great. Oh. We just did. It's not checking the clone test yet. Just this stuff. What graphics cards do we use? We usually have GeForce 980s or 1080s. It bugged when a clone was on the same spot as the original guy pushing the mirror. All right. All right. How about if we mess with that mirror reflection? Oh, you know what? I actually, I should test some more cases here. Because for all I know, what I did is just stupid and won't work, maybe. I don't know. Let's just see. I want to do some things like... All right, it's a little bumpy right now, but it actually works. This didn't work before. Oh! What happened there? I pushed that right into that guy. Oh, because my clone check, my can go clone check is only checking the target ID. I know what's happening. Oh no, it wasn't in can go. It was in, what was it called? Clone matching ID. So we have to check mover here. If mover.entity ID is equal to ID or mover.entity ID, mover.clone of ID is equal to ID. Okay. Ah! Why did it still do that? Did I really recompile correctly? Whoops. All right, well, let's re-gear this for our new test. We're just going to put that guy there, and we're going to put that guy there, and we're going to save it. And then we reload. Yeah, this whole system is somehow too complicated. And we're going to maybe have to do something to simplify it later. I don't exactly know what, but we'll see. Do I anticipate adding slopes, angled mirrors? I cannot say. I cannot say. Oh, maybe it's saying can go is true. Because that guy is moving off the square. Okay. Really, I have to do okay. Okay. So we're going to say if it dot visual interpolation dot transaction ID is equal to transaction ID movers that's it. So we're going to so it's not just clones to move, it's movers. Maybe something like that. Okay. All right. Didn't fucking work. Transaction ID is not equal to 0. Well, I guess if nobody can move. No movers. So it's still going to be broken, but it's not asserting now. How many movers are there? Movers 3, good. Movers 2, right. Oh. Because that guy wasn't able to move, his transaction ID was 0. For coins to move. To the tothers. Okay. There we go. Look at that. I mean, never mind the quality software. Oh, God, what the? Thing is in the wrong square. A, comma, A dot visual interpolation dot physical start. Oh boy. This be hairy. This be hairy as Truman. Fuck. What is going on there? All right, good luck with your programming. Whenever I'm working on something and it goes like this, then I know it's going to have to get rewritten later. The thing is, I mean, this whole system has to get rewritten later. The thing is, I don't know what the right answer is about how to make it better. And so what's going on now is this is part of the process of learning how to make it better. Like learning, becoming more of an expert at this entity movement system so that I know what to do later. Well, it shouldn't. So the thing is, when it gets pushed into that square, we're reverting this here. It shouldn't actually move into that square until it passes halfway through its interpolation. And because we're canceling its interpolation, it shouldn't be an issue. let me see, I'm just curious about something. What happens if I just put a totally different character here? I want to verify that this is about that this is a clone issue, right? And not just like, oh, I'm pushing this thing into another character and it didn't work. So let's try that. Yeah, okay. So it's here. It definitely, it's definitely something about, oh, what the hell happened there? Clone movement is all messed up. I like tried to go around the corner of this guy. It's not doing it now, but I tried to go around it in a way that should have worked, and it blocked me. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But we do know that this is a cloning issue. I'm just going to print out if a.entity type is equal to mirror print what is going on? Nothing yet. Okay. Whoa, we canceled that. Oh, right, because of the noise flailing. Okay. Let's look at the visual interpolation first. Linear move, physical start. Start time is -1. So the start time is what determines 2, 4, 1, 4. All right. And then on the next frame, where's the 2, 4? It's still at 2, 4. How is it getting to x equals 1? Or wait, is that x equals 2? Hold on. That's x equals 1. That's x equals 2. So I do not understand. Let's control G this. Yeah, when I control G it, it's there. Let's reset. Okay, this is weird. I control G it here and it's in its own square. I move my guys south. I control G it again. And it crashes. Control G doesn't always work. Control G just basically copies the gameplay state into the editor. So you can see, yeah, it doesn't always happen. So, okay, it happens. It happens only if we flail, like. Yeah. Like if I manage not to do it more than one time in a row or whatever, then it's okay. The second time it is not okay. Why would that do anything? I can set a breakpoint. I can set a breakpoint. When we print mirror whatever. I'll get rid of this. Oh boy, it's going to keep going until I disable. The keys get stuck down. All right. So now, right, if I move and move back, it'll be there. So I'm going to set a breakpoint in the physical position set because it's always set to be 2. So I'm going to go back here. And I'm going to say a what the fuck? Undoable data. Not having the using, what? Oh, A is an entity. Not having the usings be, what the fuck? Oh, it's optimized way not available. A, do we have A? I'm trying to do work here, you piece of shit. All right. God damn it. Okay, here's what we do at times like this, is we say xxx dumb global variable is an entity, right? And then we just say down here, xxx dumb global variable is A. All right. Debug. Attached to process. That's why I have a mouse or a wrist pad. It's so you can whack the monitor real hard with the wrist pad. God. All right. So what did I just call it? XXXX dumb global variable. too many X's. All right. And then undoable data, that exists. Dot position dot x. So I'll take the address of this. Finally, breakpoints, new, data breakpoint, OX1 EC268C 6788. Boom, go. Disable this. All right, it still hasn't changed. So we're updating physical position on that entity. When my guy why does he count as physically moved? E like, how did that happen? My start time is -1. Oh, because if should physically move, of course I destroy the start time here. Okay, well, we're gonna check out when does this get a visual interpolation, because that seems messed up. All right, so of course I'm not, because of the flailing, I'm not going to be able to set this breakpoint. Until I, damn it. So frustrating. I might have to put even more crappy hacks into my program to be able to set this breakpoint. Because I just want to set it on the visual interpolation start time, but the problem is this is going to mess around with the visual interpolation start time, and we're flailing through this and the key is stuck down. I could figure out how to unstick the key. I don't know. Fuck you. Is the ray casting in Sokoban done on the CPU or the GPU? What ray casting? What ray casting are you guys talking about? I'm not like seriously mad. It's like I feel the frustration coming up and then I decide to have fun with it as one way of abating it peacefully. I am a little bit frustrated, but I'm not nearly as frustrated as I used to get in this kind of situation when I was programming. This is really annoying because I have to do all sorts of stupid things just to get one piece of information that is going to be a relatively trivial bug, probably. I'm not sure what to do here. Could you use something like the volatile qualifier in C? It's not really an equivalent. All right, I'm going to take a 3 to 5 minute break while I just think about how to solve this. And we will come back and do something about this bug. I'm really not sure because I don't want to keep putting more hacks into the program. I want to like think of something that'll just be the right thing. We'll find out. Well, what do we do about this? What do I do about this? Someone is setting the visual interpolation. But the weird thing is, all right. I don't know. Okay, here's what I do. I get the address now, but I don't set the breakpoint yet. Okay, so Visual Studio sucks. Okay, that's the address that I want. Now we're going to disable this because I think the interpolation doesn't happen until I walk up. So now well, I have to break somewhere. New data breakpoint 1 EC266C6668. Okay. So now, there we go. It's in move entity. Add visual interpolation. Really? Old position. 1, 4. New position. 1, 5. Why is old position 1, 4? E visual no E undoable data dot position. How did that get set already? Okay, maybe I was wrong about how this was getting set. But wait, I thought we set a breakpoint where it was getting set and determined that it was because of a visual interpolation. Maybe that determination was too much of a guess. All right, well, let's try again. Let's try again. At least that technique was shown to work of getting the address but not setting the breakpoint till later. All right, so we have the mirror again. But I'm going to get the position address. I want to remind myself 20C268C6788. I want to remind myself when exactly this. Oh, it happens when we move down. Right. And so my claim was to get here, its visual interpolation must have been turned on for a second, which may not be true. Okay, let's go back to our this breakpoint. We're going to do this again. We're getting the address of the visual interpolation, start time. Copy value, disable breakpoint. Now, we are not going to move yet. Then we're going to go back here and set this breakpoint. And then we're going to say data breakpoint at this. And then we're going to walk south. And it didn't set. Okay, that gives us information, though. That gives us information. So if we go back here, yet again, I go back here, and I take the position. Right, we determined that this does change when I go south. Which means that somehow it is changing Did I fail to set that breakpoint? Like, what the fuck? This just gets so confusing, like the slightest mistake. What am I even doing right now? I'm going to debug this for like an hour, and it'll be something totally stupid that I just should have known, right? That's how this works. Okay. C6788, new, data breakpoint, C6788. Okay. Disable, go. I thought this triggered when I walked south. Yes, it did. Okay, I must have copied the wrong value last time. Okay, so it's getting here without its start time being set to -1, which means physically moved if it dot entity type is equal to mirror, just some dummy lines where I could set a breakpoint. All right. Debug, attached process, that. All right, so now what is going on? So my breakpoints are working. How are we getting into physically moved? How are we getting into physically moved if we don't hit that breakpoint? That doesn't make any sense at all. Unless it's like an array logic bug. Oh no, right here, of course. Oh my God. I should have checked that like 2 hours ago. Bug fixed. No, bug not fixed. What? It should physically move. This was before we did our considered thing. I don't think this is going to change anything, but oh, it did. All right. So the difference is I understand why that changed anything. I don't understand why that changed anything. Whether I iterate over considered or moving entities. And check this. Unless the start time somehow changed between here and there. Dude, it should have been so obvious, though, that that was the problem, because that was the code that I just added. Yeah, that was not... Sometimes trying to use the debugger is not the best thing. It's not the fastest route to understanding. Sometimes you just have to know what the problem is. All right. So I'm going to check this in, and then I'm going to deal with that flailing. Did I get rid of all my dumb print statements? Yeah, all right. Fix mirror bug. Oh yeah, let's not check in the clone test. Actually, let's check in the clone test because because I might need it later. All right. So what was the fix? The fix was to make sure that it's really a currently moving entity. So this thing down here, oops, we're in the wrong file. But we were saying before, we're adding this to physically moved. We have some array called physically moved. And we just recently said, hey, if you're synced with something, which means, for example, if you're pushing an entity and it completes, and you complete, then it completes. And that's not exactly the right solution for the long term, but it's what we've got going on right now. And the test for syncing was just testing this, but it was iterating over every entity, and so it wasn't actually checking that the thing had a live interpolation. Really what I should do is check the transaction ID also, right? Like, not only should it be synced with me, but I think that's a little bit redundant, but I think what we learned here is better safe than sorry. All right, so the next thing is, if we revert anybody, this is a little bit of a hack, but we're going to do it this way. If we reverted anybody, and we didn't end up moving anybody, then we avoid the flailing by just making a pause. So and then we'll have some fun by stress testing this with a different situation. Okay, if we reverted anyone, then I can just do this. We have to set num reverted. Okay, if num reverted, the problem is just that if nobody moves, we don't end up issuing a transaction at all, and transactions are what takes time, so nothing takes any time. But only if people thought they could move and then couldn't move. Anyway, if num reverted 4 clones to move if it.visual interpolation that start time. We'll break out of that loop. If no one moved, then 4 clones to move. And then, so the question is, why does this one take time? Well, anyway, I'll figure that out later. Actually, no, we'll just take time. Duration equals block smash recovery time. There's no guess we didn't set it. All right. All right. Did that work? Yes. Let's go O.4. So it's at least not flailing. That doesn't sound like 0.4 seconds. Yeah. That didn't work though. I guess because nobody was actually able to move in the first place, so nobody was reverted. How about if we just do this, right? If no one moved, that didn't work. What? All right. All right, this only happens if transaction ID let's simplify this. I don't like this transaction ID starting out 0 anyway. Let's simplify that by eating a transaction ID no matter what. Okay. Yeah, we just delete all this. In fact, all of this, right? Because we were like copying the transaction ID, but we can just send it down from the top. So screw that. Get rid of all this. I hope I'm not breaking this really badly. Okay. don't know why that's not working. We might as well use our transaction ID though. Sometimes simplifying is just what you need to do. And what happens if I just have one? Yeah, it's the same rough cadence and all that, so that's fine. Okay, so now is when we get bananas and hope that it doesn't just barf, because the reason I did it this way instead of another way whoops. Was so I could do crazier stuff. I don't even know what I'm doing here. I'm just putting some things on the level. So this is confusing. So these wizards are swapping with each other right now because wizard swaps bounce off mirrors. Okay, so the whole reason I did this is, in spite of all that frustrating debugging that I did a minute ago, this is where it's magical, because the whole reason that I did this way was so that this would work, and other related things that are not like linear one square movement, right? See how that guy like bounced all the way around and hit that block? Like he can swap with this block, which is pretty awesome. Maybe we should draw that. So this is going to be hella confusing, but that's the kind of game we're making. So let's get more wizards. I don't know what's happening here. Oh, this guy is swapping with this guy before this guy gets to move. That's a bit of a weird race condition. No. All right, now there's blocks in the way of. Whoa. I have to try to clear this. I'm trying to get this mirror on the bottom row. There we go. Wait, that wasn't the bottom row. Okay, it's a disaster. disaster. Okay, let's do some other stress testings. So that's at least good enough for now. The finer points of what happens when a wizard swaps with his clone and whatever are things that we can work out. But let's do some even more banana-er things. Like, let's get some of this shit. Well, we'll leave that there. So this right now, right? Okay. Too many blocks, man. Damn it. Okay. I don't know why it's stopping me inside that wall. Oh no, that's just my mirror distance, right? I should be able to do that. It's not letting me. All right. Okay. It is not correctly letting me this through beam ought to let me swap through the wall, but it doesn't. I'm going to write down this. These are more like things I don't necessarily expect to work, but should. Wizard plus throughs. Beam through wall. All right. No matter. We really don't want to test the wizard right now anyway. We want to get back our normal guys, but then do something bananas with them. So wait. Okay. So we've got a thief, and we're going to make this be an endpoint beam. All right. And then this guy goes away. And this is going to be there. So all right. That crashed us. Assertion failed, line 346. What? How did that assertion fail? Well, it seems to fail every time. Oh, because the endpoint beam is going till it hits something, and it's hitting a mirror. It's hitting a mirror. Yeah, we're gonna have to debug this later on because I'm gonna get some food and go out. But endpoint beam, it's basically, I bet it actually works better if I go into it over here. No. So my theory was, because it's using this delta dot x to use an east, west, or north, south, but my theory was because the direction of the beam I was going into was different from the one that I started with, that it wouldn't work. But that doesn't seem to be the case. Hmm. I don't think exceptions as C++ uses them are good in any contexts, but you know that. So, all right. So we've got more gameplay stuff for me to play with. And, I've crossed off a number of scary things today. That's good. Now that movement, that clone movement, probably, like I said, is going to need to get revisited and rewritten. But that can happen later after I've hit a few more problems and have a clearer idea of what needs to happen. Yeah, I have a feeling from here it's going to be a bunch of little things like that thing that just happened there, which, like, I assume this is getting set to mirror. Yeah, I just, this endpoint code happened before uh, you could bounce beams off mirrors, so it just doesn't make sense. So we're going to have to come up with something. Now the question is, I guess endpoint always should take you to the end of the beam. So east, west, north, south shouldn't matter. Crayosh. How about go-tos? Any decent use case, or are they just as evil as everyone says they are? I don't think they're as evil as some people think. They definitely, if your style is that you use go-tos all over the place, it's probably bad code that's hard to follow, but sometimes it's fine. I haven't used any in this program, so goto doesn't even exist in this language yet, but we'll probably add it eventually. Any plan to handle pointer aliasing? Well, what do you mean by handle pointer aliasing? Right? I mean, you can handle it just fine by not trying to optimize, but that's not a very good way to handle it. So, um, yes, there are ideas about how we're going to deal with that and generate fast code but those ideas are about defining the language semantics in certain cases. And I'm just going to not be too specific about that until a little bit later when we have a clearer picture of how things are going to shake out. Um, yeah, I mean, restrict is a thing that works best in C or C++, so I imagine we will have some flavor of that. But the exact details, like what exactly are the semantics and when do you need to use it and that stuff, I'm not sure yet. We need to see. We need to see. Ah. Just don't want that excuse for stuff like assume UB doesn't happen optimizations. Yeah, I don't, assuming you mean what I think you mean there. Yeah, that's the part of C++ that I hate exceedingly and that there's really no excuse for, right? Oh, if this loop ever ran, it would be UB, therefore the variable can't ever be in the range of the loop or whatever. Yeah, that stuff is no good, and we will not have that for sure. Part of the way we will not have that is just by not having nearly as much UB as C++ does. I don't know why they don't fix that, but they don't. So yeah, I have not ever really needed GoTo yet. So, eh. Oh. All right, everybody. I think I'm going to head out for a bit. There's a rare chance that I might do another stream tonight to try to attack some of this Beam stuff. I'm also a little bit scared to test the Druid with clones because that's like not exactly going to work. But maybe it can be made to work relatively straightforwardly. But yeah, thanks for stopping by and see you later. Complaining that harder to prevent a compiler optimization than it is to ensure it. Well, yeah. Will there be a library that enables string templates like in Kotlin where you can embed variables in a string by prefixing them with $, and statements in a string by surrounding them with $, whatever? Maybe. I mean, I don't like that kind of thing. I don't think it's good, but it probably will be possible to make a library that does that if you want. It isn't actually yet, but probably soon it will be possible. See you later.